Today you're going to learn how to make a logo on Adobe Illustrator CC. My name is Franky. I am a internationally certified in the entire Adobe suite, which includes Illustrator obviously. So let's open it up together. I'm not going to faff around with this tutorial because most of my tutorials are an hour long, and I want to keep this kind of short. So open up Illustrator. I'm going to show you guys the basics of the program, and then I'm also going to show you just the basics of creating a logo and just a general shape, and then you can do some minor tweaks to make those I guess the infamous word is pop a little bit better, but just to make it look a little bit nicer and cleaner. I'll do that in a future tutorial. I just want to show you guys the basics for now. So let's go top left, file, new, and this will show up a new document or artboard. You can name this whatever you want to if you want to create a custom preset, but I'm not going to do that for now. Number of artboards, you can leave that at 1. All I'm going to change here is the size. There are a few that you can, a few presets that are the regular ones that you can choose from, like A3, A4, and so forth. But I'm going to go down here to RGB. This is the most important part of setting up your document. You have to make sure that you choose the correct color mode. So RGB is for red, green, and blue, and that is for if you're going to use this digitally. So if you use this online or anything like that, use RGB. If you're going to print, use CMYK because those are the colors of the printer. So just make sure that you pick the correct color depending on if you're going to print or not. I'm not going to print this. It's going to be on the internet, so it's going to be RGB. Next, the size. There are a bunch of presets. I like to just keep mine at 1920 by 1080 because this is widescreen. It's 16 by 9 resolution. Not resolution. Aspect ratio. So I'm going to keep it like that. And then my units, it doesn't really matter. The units honestly does not matter at all because this is vector, so it scales indefinitely. But usually I would make this pixels, and then make this 1920 by 1080. Sorry for knocking the microphone a little bit there. And here the orientation you can just choose if you want it portrait or landscape. And that's it. These bleeds are only for if you are going to print. Make sure that you put in a few pixels here if you're going to print, but that's not a really big deal. It's just to make sure that your spacing from the sides are equal, that you don't get anything cut off by the printer. And that's about it. The raster effects, you can leave that as is. If you want to put this to RGB, I would highly recommend you putting this over to 27 ppi. That's just has to do with the screen's settings that you have to do. That's all I learned in college. But if you're going to print, you have to print this in 300. So put that down to 72, and we will create this. So this is the artboard that you get. I'm going to show you guys just the basic controls first. If you want to scroll up and down, it's just the scroll wheel up and down like that. If you want to zoom in and out, hold down the Alt key and then scroll up and down, and you can see it will zoom in and out. And if you want to move around or pan around the artboard, hold down space and left click. If you hold down space, you see the little hand coming up there, and then you hold down left click to move the artboard around. You can like drag it around a little bit. So those are the basics. With this you can zoom in and out and just pretty much move around the artboard freely without having any struggles and without using these little arrows next to the sides and all the little bars and everything. So that's pretty much it. That's the basics of moving around. Let's just make sure that you have all of your windows set up correctly. If you go up here to essentials, I don't know what yours might say, but this is the preset for the layout of your software. So automation will look a bit different. You can see different windows popping up here. Essentials is the one that I work on, and there's a bunch of other ones that would bring up different tools that you need. If you need any extra tools, you can go to window, and then there are an entire list of tools that are there for you to use, and the blue check marks are the ones that are put up on your heads up display, I guess you would say. So that's pretty much it. Let's get started. So first off, the first thing we need to do, to the left side of your screen, hopefully you have this little toolbar here. And then we're going to pick this little square. If you hold it in, you can see, if you hold left click in on top of it, you can see there are a variety of shapes you can choose from: ellipse tool, polygon tool, star tool, rounded, rectangle tool. We're just going to choose a rectangle quickly. If you want to draw any shape in this software, you just left click, drag any direction. You can drag up, down, left, or right. It's very simple. I'm sure you have done anything like this before, and then release to create a shape. Now, something that's different from this to Photoshop, for example, or to Paint or anything. I don't know where you guys started, so I'm just referencing everything. That it doesn't have a fill yet. So top left, you can see the fill. The fill is on the left hand side, as you can see, and then there's a variety of colors you can choose from. Let's just choose blue for now. And then the right hand side would be the stroke, and let's just choose pink, for example. And then the stroke width would be here. You can drop that down, or you can fill in any number that you want to. So that is the basics of the stroke and the fill, and you can move this around. To the right hand side, here we have the layers tab. You can open this up by using that little drop down arrow, and you can see your layer right here. This is the path that it creates. Also, it's worth mentioning that Illustrator is definitely more powerful than Photoshop or Paint when it comes to creating logos. The reason therefore is that it creates vectors and not raster. Raster has to do with pixel information, and vector has to do with mathematical information in equations. So all of your details will remain perfectly clear no matter the scaling. So if we zoom in here, this will stay 100% perfect no matter how deep we scroll in there. So that's perfect right there. It won't change the shape, it won't start pixelating, it won't start doing anything. So whether we were designing this on a artboard of a few pixels by a few pixels, let's say 50 pixel by 50 pixels, or if we were designing this on this full HD artboard that I've created here, it's irrelevant. So if whenever you scale things, they will stay perfectly the same. So that's the reason why we're using Illustrator, just so that we can freely scale without any disturbance of the quality and so forth. So I'm going to delete this just by clicking on it, moving it around, and just pressing delete on my keyboard. And we are going to go down here the right hand side of the layers tab at the bottom here, where my cursor is right now. I'm going to click on that. It says create new layer. I'm going to create another layer over there. And then I'm going to highlight that layer, and we're going to start to draw. So the first thing that you probably want to know how to do when creating logos is just to create unique shapes. So as I showed you here, we have the rectangle tool, the rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool, polygon tool, star tool, and the flare tool. So those are lovely, but let's say I don't want to use any of those. I want to use a different shape. I want to make my own creative logo, something original, obviously. And I can't do that if I just have these to my disposal. So that's where the pen tool comes in. The pen tool's up here right above the type tool, the little T. You click on that and you have your pen tool. So this is probably the most powerful tool that you have to your disposal when it comes to designing logos. And the reason to that will become clear very soon. So if you press P on your keyboard, P for Papa, you can also bring it up like that. Okay, so the basics of drawing with the pen tool is a little bit complicated, but I'm going to fly through this as quick as I can. So first off, let's use our left mouse button to just click, and that will create an anchor point. And so if we click again, it's going to connect those two anchor points with a line. So if I click here again, it's going to make a line, and it uses the stroke and the fill that we have previously selected. So if I click again, third point, it creates the stroke and then the fill. And if I come back to the original anchor and I click on that again, you will see a little circle right next to your pen tool. That means it will complete the shape. You click on there and then it will complete the shape right there, seeing as we drew a triangle. So I'm going to use my selection tool, which is V on your keyboard, and I'm going to highlight this and press delete again to just delete that. So top right hand corner, I'm going to go to my stroke. I do not want any stroke, so I'm going to select the red / and that will make the stroke go away, and I'm going to select black as my fill. I know that's very boring, but just keep in mind that whenever designing logos, the color is irrelevant right now. So we just want to create a custom shape right now. So P on my keyboard to go back to the pen tool. And we're going to start to draw curves. If you don't want to create anything with regular shapes like this, perhaps, I don't know, whatever funky shape you want to create, let's say you want to make something with curves. So if I go back to my pen tool and I click again, but instead of releasing right after I click and I hold down the left key, and then I start to drag. And if you drag, you'll see two little arms pop up. So there are two little arms to the left and the right. You can see two little arms. I'm holding onto the right hand arm. And as I rotate this, you see the line bending. The line that's connected from the first anchor to the second anchor is starting to bend. So the way I like to see it is that this is a line or a cord of metal, and the second hand, the one that I'm not holding onto, is a magnet. And the line is getting pulled by the magnet, almost like a moon type thing. And the current of the ocean is getting pulled by the moon, and the same is happening right here. So wherever you want this curve to go, you can basically create any type of curve. You just keep playing around with this until you find the curve that you're looking for. Honestly, the only way that I can fully show you how to manipulate these curves the way that you want is just by you hopping in to Illustrator yourself and just playing around with it for a few hours. Honestly, it's taking me years and years and years to perfect the pen tool, and it will take you years and years and years, but it's fairly easy just to get basic shapes done with the pen tool really quickly. So there I have released my curve, and you can see I have a basic curve here. The straight line from the first anchor to the second anchor is just filling in my full. So let's say that you do not complete the full yet, that will become your shape, but we are not completed yet. Let's we have the two little anchor points here, the two little arms on either side. You can adjust that once again if you use the direct selection tool or A on your keyboard. You can pick those back up and you can move them again, and that will change the arc once more. So if you go back to the pen tool, also if you click once again on any part of your artboard, you click that again once and you release. Oh, I kind of screwed that up a little bit. Let's just create that again. Also another tip, Control Z to undo. That's fairly basic though. If I click anywhere else on my on my artboard, you will see that it uses my second hand as the moon, or the magnet in this case, as a reference point to create the second arc, and that creates a very smooth arc from the first one through the second one and over to the third one. So you can use that to your advantage to create any shape that you actually want to. I'm going to undo that though, just to show you guys what's going on. Okay, so we have mastered the pen tool now. I hope you have practiced a little bit, and we're going to go over into creating shapes from scratch. So let's say you want to create, I don't know, it honestly doesn't matter what you create or what I create at this stage. It's just to kind of show you what you can do with different types of shapes, and how we can cookie cut one shape from the other one. So let's say we have an ellipse tool here. And if I click that on my little artboard and I drag to the right, you will see a circle coming out. If I hold down Alt while doing this, it will scale from the center. You can see it scales from the center instead of this happening. I don't know if that is very clear to you, but whenever you are in Illustrator doing this yourself, it'll become clear. Hold down Alt while you have this stretching over. And then also you can hold down Control. No, not Control. Shift. Yeah, Shift. To scale it perfect, to make a perfect circle. This also works for any other shape to make a perfect shape. By example, like a square or anything like that, it'll make a perfect square. So right there we can make a perfect circle. If we release the click button, it'll create the circle. But let's say you are not happy with where it is placed. You want to move it over to the right or the left. That is where your thumb comes in, and you hold down spacebar. and then you can move this entire circle around. Whenever you release spacebar and still hold in Control and Shift, you will place that wherever you release the spacebar. So that's very handy if you're creating circles, or any shape for that matter. And then you can just release, and that'll fill it up dependent on what you selected the color to be. So we're working with black right now. So now that we have our circle, after you've created it, obviously you can move it around as you wish. And then to cut out any shape from the shape, we can easily select the pen tool by pressing P, and you see they have these anchor points. These anchor points are just there to help you. If you go to your settings and edit preferences, you can select these smart guides, which will help you just to line up your cursor to the correct anchor points very easily. You can see a little green line appearing whenever I am close to the center of the circle. So let's say we want a quarter of a circle, for example. We'll click up here and then go down to the center. It'll say center, will pop up right there. Obviously, if you hold down, let me just show you this quickly. If you click anywhere and hold down Shift while clicking, it'll create a perfectly vertical line. This will create lines in 90 degrees. And then if I click to the right here, it's obviously not perfectly horizontal. You can see my clicker or my pointer, it's not perfectly horizontal like that. It's down here, but if I hold down Shift, it'll make a perfect right angle. So I'm going to undo that just to show you guys. Okay, so now I'm back here at the circle. I'm going to click up the top, and I'm going to move down into the center, click again, and then to the right, click again, and I will fill up this triangle like that. I'll go back to my pointer tool. So you see we have two shapes. So we have the circle, which is highlighted right now, and then we have the triangle right there. So if I want to cut these out of each other like a cookie cutter, I select the first one and I select the second one while holding down Shift. Hold down Shift, and you will select both. I believe you can also hold down Control to select both. No, you can't. Okay, so only Shift. And then if you move down here to the right hand side, I have it right here. It's called the Pathfinder. If you do not have this, go to Window, go down to Pathfinder right there. You can just click that and that'll bring it up for you. So my Pathfinder right here, if you want to join these two shapes together, let's say you create any two shapes, or you have created a logo and you're not satisfied yet, you want to add something onto it, you can do that with a pen tool. And then if you want to merge the shape together so it forms one full shape, I always do this at the end of creating logos to make sure that my logos are one shape and it's not various shapes overlapping, just to keep it clean. That is the button you will be pressing, the one to the far left. It says unite. Alt click to create component shape and blah 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 blah. We don't really need that. So if you click that, it'll create a full shape. This will be your entire shape now. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. And then the one to the right, minus front. That is if you want to cut out the front one from the one behind. The one to the right, if you want to create only the shape that is intersecting. So only the overlapping shape of the two. Let's say we had okay, let me show it to you guys like this. If I take both of these and I put their opacity down to 50, that overlapping shape, this overlapping shape over here, the dark gray, that is the only thing that will remain if we press this little button which says intersect. Also, how I did the opacity is up here, it says opacity. You can just click on that and then play around with that as much as you want. Okay, so we have the two shapes. The one I wanted to do is this intersect one, but also you can do the exclude, which cuts out the darker gray section in the middle, the overlapping part. So if we click that, you can see it forms a hole, and then it also creates a full shape. So there we have the shape that we created just now. I'm going to Alt Control Z that just to undo that. Here I'm just going to I think we can choose between, if we wanted the outer side, the 3/4 or the 1/4, but it's irrelevant which one you wanted to do. So not that one, let's do this one. So we have only a quarter left. So in this fashion, you can create any shape that you want by using the Pathfinder. also using the pen tool and just the basic shapes. Another way of doing this is if we take out the pen tool and let's say we are creating a shape here, which I don't know, for example, let's create something like that. That's just for example. Let's say we wanted to move one of these anchors. We don't want we want these zigzags to be more even, and they're not even enough for us right now. We can go down to the direct selection tool, which is A on your keyboard, and we can zoom in by pressing Alt scroll in, and then space drag, left mouse drag to move this around as much as we like. We can click on one of these anchor points, these paths. It'll light up blue in my instance, dependent on what your layer color is. And then we can move this around. We can freely move any of these anchor points around as much as you like to even this up a little bit better. So what I like to do is whenever I draw my shape, I draw it very rough, and then I come in with the direct selection tool, and I can fine tune the shape as much as I like. Whenever you click on a anchor that has these two handles, giving it its curve, you can also play around with the curve as much as you like. To change the shape in any way or form that you would like to do. Also, if we put another shape on top of this, let's say for instance something like that, just create a basic triangle to cut out this little part here. We can move this around and change the shape a little bit better to suit the shape it's in, something like that. Then if we also select both of these shapes again, so shift select both, click on both, which is nice about Illustrator is you can select shapes on the artboard itself. You don't have to go to the layer panel as you do have to do with Photoshop, which is very irritating and annoying. So sometimes I get confused and I just try and click on shapes on the screen in Photoshop, and it doesn't really help me that much. So on Illustrator you can click right on the screen. We go to the left hand side. It's called the shape builder tool. It's very, very useful, probably one of the most underrated tools there is. Between the path tool, the type tool, and the shape builder tool, that's probably my top 3 tools that I ever use. Okay, so if we click that and we hover over the shapes we have here, you can see that it will highlight certain parts of the shape that we have. The intersection here, the right hand shape and the left hand shape. So it has a little plus sign right next to the little arrow, right next to the little pointer. If we click and drag that over into any other shape, the two that are highlighted, it will merge those two together. So it will create one shape out of all of those. So if I release that, that will create one shape. You can see now that it's only one shape, and in here in the panel, if I just delete, let's say we delete that one. Okay, so we only have this one right here now. This is one shape now, it isn't two shapes anymore. So that way you can combine shapes as well as using the merge here with a pathfinder. I'm going to Control Z that just to undo. And now let's say we select both and we want to cut anything out. We can also use the path, the shape builder tool to do that. If we hover over any part that we want to cut out of another part, you just hold down Alt, and then you can see the plus changes to a minus. So if I left click down and drag over, I want these two parts to get removed, and I release. You can see those get minused out like a cookie cutter type thing. And there we have our new shape. If we want to change this again, we can go in with the direct selection tool. We can change any curves that we would like to. This one is separate now from that one. And then we can change this. We can also rotate everything. If you use your, what is this called? Selection tool, V on your keyboard, you can rotate them as much as you'd like. And there we have a funky little M. I know, if you want to create a new McDonald's logo or something like that, I don't know. So yeah, that's the basics of Illustrator. If you guys want me to do a tutorial on how to finish your logo in terms of just to make it appear nicer, to add gradients, to add color, to add anything, strokes and so forth, leave a comment, let me know what you guys want to see, and I will most likely reply and do another tutorial. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. I do mostly gaming stuff, but every now and then I do graphics. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and a comment as well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.